As we begin, I want to put out a call to action. I would never try to bore anyone with my personal problems, but suffice it to say I'm struggling. This channel was taken up again after a years-long hiatus to help me mourn the loss of my dog. I felt that if I could contribute anything, even something as small as helping someone smile or brightening their day, I'd somehow be honoring his memory or carrying his love forward. I'm not a sappy or overly sentimental person, so asking for help is hard. If I'm honest though, one of my major failings in life has been my unwillingness to ask for help when I needed it. Well, here I am, realizing I need help and asking for it. Please engage with my channel somehow. Even if you can't watch the streams, YouTube and Twitch are highly dependent on user engagement to determine how popular a channel is, and while I don't need to be the top of the list, I do want to reach more people and build this community, if anything because of how badly I hope to provide entertaining and sometimes educational content. These pleas for help will be few and far in between, but right now, this is more important than you could ever know. Even just listening to me and throwing a like on this video helps greatly. I feel honored to have y'all in my life. Thank you so much for being here. Goose. Enjoy. I got a couple of different dogs. Anyway, I just want to do a real quick intro. Just, hi guys, I'm Goose. Hello. I did want to restart the video just so that I can actually take advantage. Sorry, I had to pick something off the mic. Here you go.
Strafe jumping is an
I also didn't catch the beginning of it, and I
will
wanted to
allow
talk
you
through it,
to move more than twice as fast as your default movement speed. So let's break this down and get you strafe jumping
it's actually
like
about
a champion
150%
in no time. The first part of strafe jumping is, of course, strafing. And
For
here
most
is a
Source Engine or
demonstration of
Q3
strafe
engines.
acceleration, where I'm moving forward and pushing strafe left or strafe right, and you'll notice that my speed accelerates beyond that base speed until ground friction kicks in and brings me back down to that base speed.
Now the reason for this is because games don't operate like real life does. In real life, we have things like inertia, momentum, velocity, yada yada, and friction, as the video commentator said. So, in games, we have to judge everything as if we can't see, touch, taste, feel, smell, anything like that. We have to add functionality for players so that they're able to navigate the world in an almost human fashion. And what that means is basically making up physics. So back in the day when I was growing up, Quake was the premier first-person shooting arena shooter game, and it kind of spawned all the rest of the engines that focused on that since then. Strafe jumping was a thing in Quake 2 onward, and kind of got a little bit of a diminished reputation around the time of Unreal Tournament 3. So it fell out of fashion, but gamers were still gamers. When I say gamer, I mean like an edgy gamer from like the 1990s. That's what I mean when I say gamer. But gamers still had the muscle memory of all those times playing Quake where they would just be strafe jumping by default. And so they figured out these mechanics in other games. Summary, this is what happened in MegaBonk for me. But I want to explain this, and I am bad at explaining it. So here's why we're watching that video, or this video. The way that things, if I can make a really long story short, the way that things work inside of a video game in terms of physics and movement, each input is taken separately. It may seem like you're moving diagonally, but what you're doing is you're moving up and to the left. So when it accounts for these mechanics, when it accounts for these inputs and tries to predict what it's, because it simulates, it has to do all these things in less than a second, right, in order to be responsive. So what it does is it snapshots your velocity in either of the way, either a front or to the side. And what that actually means is that you maintain that momentum in some fashion. It's stored somewhere in the memory of the game. And what happens is when you hit the ground, the way that they simulate friction is they recall that and put it against what your velocity was when you were in the air. And all of that to say that the more directions that you can hold at once by the time you've left the ground, the faster you'll move. And each of the different characters in MegaBonk has different reactions to this mechanic, but strafe jumping absolutely does exist.
So what if we could remove that ground friction? And the answer to that is no doubt jumping. Here we see that if I move forward, push strafe, and then
bunny
hold
hopping,
jump
which
almost
people already
immediately
do in this
afterward,
game,
that I will continue to move at that accelerated rate.
But I can tell you that bunny hopping will not be the mechanic. This is the mechanic. The mechanic is strafe jumping, all right? Or at least what I'm gonna call it is bonk walking. The tech here is called bonk walking, all right? If any of you play MegaBonk and you're a member of the community, I want you to spread that bonk walking. And who came up with it? Goose. Because I'm telling you right now.
We're missing a key component here. That key component is turning into the strafe. I'm doing everything I did before, but I'm moving my mouse slowly in the direction of the strafe. And as soon as I turn about 22 degrees, I will begin to accelerate. And I'll continue to accelerate so long as I continue turning into that 22-degree angle.
Now that's a really interesting part. And I think it's going to make a lot of sense for me to explain why that works. So physics in a video game, as I said before, kind of have to be faked. Like, you kind of have to imagine what the world would be like if you could just write code for the velocity that happens, or the velocity that you lose when you jump into the air. Which is cool. It's great for, you know, mathematicians. They can figure out a bunch of different stuff. If your camera moves behind you, everything that moves with the camera is still in the game world. You're essentially moving the entire game world around your character. If you imagine it that way, that your character is the 0-point center of the universe, which in game engines it likely is, the way that the game's FOV operates is that you are taking things with you as you move. So if that velocity of your character in point A, if it curves around to point B, you have to get there faster so that the game knows you're there. Otherwise, the whole system crashes. So if you move your camera so the FOV, the lens distortion from the FOV puts you at a spot that's 3 feet away from what you would normally do because real life mechanics, then you have to simulate yourself moving to that spot, which means you have to move faster, which means your actual velocity will increase to say that you can meet that point B. That's why curving as you jump is essential. But if you notice, when I was initially starting this out, like, I would jump, but my character, if you look at the footage, this is all my muscle memory. I always do this. I always hold up and one of the directional buttons, right? That's just how I do. Like, I don't know, that's my reflex. But so when it happens, you're adding both upward velocity or forward velocity and side velocity, which in this game, because they use the 4 cardinal directions, if you measure them, you're essentially doubling your speed. So when you add, but it's additive, it's not multiplicative. So if you use 100% of forward thrust and then 100% of right thrust, it's going to give you the average between the two. Think of my character as 0.0. Like, if I'm here, right, and I'm like jumping and I don't curve the camera, then I'm jumping to a pretty easy place. Sorry, let me use flat ground. And I'm jumping to a pretty easy place, right? I mean, his speed is a little bit higher, so it doesn't look like, or it looks like a pretty good distance, right? Just a single jump, right? That's just with the forward arrow. But let's do a curved jump, or like a 360, right? Let's use a frame of reference here. So let's say if I jump, I hit the side, god damn it. I hit the side of this, right, from the rock, see? And so if I, oh god, if I curve it, oh geez, okay. Well, other things influence that, obviously. So if I jump oh god! Sorry, it's getting a little chaotic. So if I jump from it, then I actually move a little further. And I can't, it's hard to do this when there's a thing happening. Well, again, this is why I'm putting on the video, because they explain a lot better than I can. I'll just hit play.
This works just as well to the right as it does to the left, and if you do this, congratulations. You know how to strafe jump.
That's why bonk walking is going to be the new meta. I'm going to practice this technique in a little game that I like to call MegaBonk. Oh wait, you guys already know about that. That's right, it's the new frickin' sensation. And I've been streaming it already. I didn't catch the wave because people have been streaming it like through the weekend, and oh boy, has it blown up. You gotta ride the waves, my friends. We're gonna unlock, but also we're gonna be doing a bunch of the strafe jumping that I talked about. And the reason it's gonna look different, or better speed, I guess, than some of the other people you may have seen online. I'm using more old man terms. More and more every day. Now the best character probably for bonk walking is gonna be either no, it is in fact Monke. Because again, the more directions that you incorporate into this bonk walking mechanic, then the more velocity it's going to have snapshotted or saved or whatever. And so therefore it'll be a bigger boost, better velocity in the long run, and yeah. All right, one in the chat if you've ever had tacos. I'm kidding. I mean, I guess I'm not. If you want to put in one in the chat, if you like tacos. I mean, I assume most people do. I was just, you know, making fun of that whole one in the chat thing, you know. We got our first subscriber about a week ago. That was the first viewer of our channel. Her name was Amy. Amberlyn. If you want to get technical. She also has a Twitch channel. Oh god, I would plug it, but I don't know if she's actively streaming. She said she wanted to again at some point. Monke. So Monke has the additional ability to climb walls. This seems like it might be too loud. It is indeed too loud. Let's put you down at about 50% there. About maybe hold it there, 20% there, huh? What about that? Feel that? Yep. It feels a little better. Thank you. So my first instinct is to always do a little spin when I jump, and it's 20 degrees is about that. Health, is it? I think. So yeah, if you do that, you'll kind of give yourself a little launch. It's not a lot, but if you get yourself going. Also, when you hit slide, the game kind of has to cheat for you a little bit. It has to give you a little bit of a push forward, so that the slide will continue to go, like it'll keep you moving. And what that translates to is another dimension of movement. I might have something similar, you know? So launch. See? And because I can like contact with walls and stuff, then I can launch off the walls. Launch. And if you're able to time your next jump so that it's right when you're like hitting the ground, then you can do that bunny hop thing and get some real momentum going. And if you pair it with curving, you get a nice little initial boost. See, I flew off of that incline, because the incline, you have to slide somehow, right? It doesn't just allow you to slide just because you hit the slide button, but you have to slide down it at an increased velocity, right? Well, that is taken into account too, especially when you hit jump while you're holding the slide, because for some reason or another it kind of locks it into place. Well, I mean, not for some reason or another, it's because they want you to feel like you can like fly across the map if you build up enough speed. Like that's kind of, I feel like, the point. Like I think this is all intended. Like this is all specifically not a bug. I don't know that it was necessarily put into the game this way, but it's just it happens to be a symptom of the engine being built the way that it is, which I think is cool. It's cool that there's sort of like this like it's a haphazard quality to it, but it's not at all. Like this it feels purposeful, which even if not, is kind of cool because they made it look that way, you know. So good on them. Good on the devs. Woo! English is not my best subject at the beginning of the week, or any other time. So, you know, if you want to take your character to heights there thus far before unseen, hitherto. I don't know why I took thorns. I guess with HP we can knock ourselves into things a little bit. Especially if, god damn it. Stop ruining this for me. Just let it charge up, you bastards. Because we're hoping to get that item that makes it so that my max health increases damage. I know that it sucks, but it doesn't hurt to have. Jump height, I don't think is going to be a good contribution unless you're already going real fast. 1 HP. I want it. I want it real good. Bonk walking. We're bonk walking. Look at all that bonk walking. Now it doesn't save you from damage. It doesn't like cheese the game in any way, shape, or form. All it does is just gives you a little bit of speed when you otherwise wouldn't have it. Another thing to remember when you are doing your when you're doing your bonk walking is to hit slide sort of early on into the jump, as I think if you're close enough to the ground is when it gives you the boost on slide. So if you hit it soon enough after you hit jump, you'll like kind of launch yourself a little bit further. It's also good for like air brakes if you need them. Not air brakes, but brakes. Air brakes as in the overall journey, not being in the air. Air brakes to the overall process. Maybe I should just use a different word altogether. But you see how I like was able to stop when I saw those enemies coming at me? And I can like change my direction. It's because of that. Come on, you boss. Guys, you don't have to pile up on me like this! Oh, he's dead. He's dead. There's no way. There's no way. It's done. It's over. Oh my god. That's what a swarm looks like when you don't actually build up enough damage to take them out. The more you know. Am I right or am I right or am I right or am I right? Am I right or am I right or am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right or am I right or am I right? Hey, am I right? Maybe.